I have never seen any other game do what Forspoken allows you to do. Before you play, we have some stuff we need to break down to get you guys ready for this game. In recent years of gaming, accessibility options have been taking new leaps year after year, and with Forspoken, that's no different. They've added some really interesting tools towards refining and customizing your entire gameplay experience, and even went the extra mile for the difficulty options. Upon reading about these in the menu, I felt some of these were silly, but after playing with a few of them, I honestly see the bigger picture beyond it all. Some of these options absolutely break the game and are borderline cheats. You're going to want to check these out and enhance your experience with Forspoken. I only have access to the PS5 version right now, but don't worry, the PC version will follow all of these tips, except for our very first tip, which is PS5 and console exclusive. The first thing you guys are going to want to do is go into the display settings and make sure it's on performance focus. The high quality and ray tracing options may look great, but it seriously impacts the button input and latency of the game, adding a little bit of delay into each button press, so it can be pretty negative for some people. Performance offers a fluid 60 frames per second experience with a dynamic resolution that's constantly changing to maintain the best quality it can while prioritizing the frame rate above all else. Yes, it can drop into the 720p range on console, which is pretty disappointing, but in a fast-paced game like this, you almost always want to prioritize frame rate. But at the end of the day, that's entirely up to you guys, because these next settings we're about to get into are going to blow your mind, and overall will make sure that your time with Forspoken is a great one, and who knows, maybe you don't need to have the buttons super responsive. Up next in the settings, we're going to take a trip over to gameplay balance. As always, I like to play my games on the hardest difficulty. It's my preference, and I like being forced to use all the mechanics in order to survive. Spell switching slowdown, please turn this on. By default, it is set to none, but with this on, it will make sure that when you're selecting your spells, it gives you time to analyze the situation and make a choice on what to do next, while sort of getting a break and seeing what the enemies are doing. There is also a full pause option that just absolutely freezes the game while you select and swap spells, so choose whichever one you want. Next, we have a weird inclusion on this list, but damage received. It allows you to change how much damage Frey receives from enemies. There is no doubt in my mind that this is a cheat. You can lower it down to significantly decrease or max it out to significantly increase if you want a more punishing hard mode. I think this is interesting for those who really want to push their limits, but some of the other options in this menu make these changes not even worth it. Comment below if you're one of those Dante must die game mode enthusiasts, and what are you running in this game? We're about to get into the game-breaking settings, guys. These are going to change everything forever. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on us going live for Forspoken today. Hit that like button. Let's get this video to over 1,000 likes to spread the hype and make sure everyone knows about these changes in the gameplay. Up next, we have the stamina recovery speed. And no questions asked, this baby is maxed out and turned on to very fast. World traversing, certain abilities and moves function off stamina, and you use a lot of it in Forspoken, almost constantly. With this turned on, Frey borderline has unlimited stamina. Once she runs out or stops using stamina, it instantly will refill itself back up rather than having to wait a few seconds, which can be absolutely amazing in high intense combat moments where there are tons of things going on and enemies are trying to rush you. Automatically using healing items, I personally have that turned off, but whatever you guys want to do, that's perfectly fine. Enemy knockdown time. I absolutely see no reason why you would not want to use the extended time up. This allows Frey's window to be increased for her to go over and execute enemies with triangle. Automatic support spells switching. I have this turned off. The last thing you want is to be in combat, about to kill the enemy, and it switches automatically to a healing or defensive spell to mess with the flow of battle. You're almost always better off leaving this to a manual setting where you can choose and pick whichever spells you want. And finally, the ultimate cheat code, without a doubt guys, auto-evasion. By default, this is off, and rightfully so. I could see why. As I'm typing up this script, I've had this on for about 20 minutes now, and Frey has been automatically dodging enemy attacks non-stop. This is absolutely broken. As much of a cheat this might be, I personally like this. It's not outside of the character of Luminous Productions to sort of automize certain aspects of their games, like Final Fantasy XV's phasing mode with Noctis. It allowed him to auto-dodge some incoming attacks. With this on in Forspoken, you don't need to worry about dodging anymore with Frey. She'll be zipping around constantly in battle and bobbing and weaving enemies. The only attacks that you will not be able to dodge are the unblockable ones with the big red X warning, so be careful and still pay attention. Similar to Devil May Cry, Frey has a battle combo ranking off to the right of the screen. The higher the ranking, the more XP she can earn. With auto-evasion on, it sort of breaks this mechanic by keeping her counter at the max level because of how amazing the dodging is. So you may already see where this is going. Because the star is so high, you're earning a crazy amount of XP and an increased drop rate. In Final Fantasy 15, there were some enemy animations that were absolutely annoying to pay attention to. Especially in the heat of battle, it was very hard to not get hit in that game. In this game, however, the animations and tells have gotten a little bit better, but like, auto-evasion exists, so why not use it? Of course, again, it's all up to your preference, but choose what you want at the end of the day. Gameplay balance settings are somewhat broken, but I appreciate the extra level that they're going to for the user experience. But when thinking about how deep this game's spells and combat abilities will go eventually, as we've seen in the trailers, it's cool to see that they wanted to remove just one small element for players to have to focus on and instead offer a seamless and fluid gameplay experience of just becoming OP and super broken. Now for accessibility settings. In the world, there are constantly going to be random items and many things to interact with. So to minimize your wandering time, turn on automatic item gathering. This allows you to walk over items and automatically pick them up, versus having to walk over and press triangle to scoop them up too. Visually, if you're having issues in the game with tracking enemies, turn on highlight nearby characters for an easier time. If you find the dialogue and banter between Frey and the Cuff too much at times, they added in a chat frequency which you can put at low, high, or minimal. Minimal will only allow dialogue needed to continue the story, so they won't be talking that often. Just to keep in mind, accessibility will be different on player needs, so go through these individually and pick and choose what you guys want for your playthrough. At the time of recording this, I've had about 6 hours with Forspoken, and I can honestly say the game is much better than I originally thought it was gonna be. The first demo definitely was not a fair representation of how the gameplay would be playing out. Gradually going through this game and getting different spells at a more modern pace obviously paints it in a better light. The dialogue is still more of the same, however things do get very interesting, and so far I'm invested in this. So now there's just one thing left, guys. Will you be getting Forspoken on day one? Comment below if these helped you out and if you found any other options to enhance the experience. Let's get a discussion going. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you are new. More Forspoken is on the way and we will be streaming it today on the channel. You don't want to miss that. My name is BltzZ and thanks for watching.